Hi guys, I'm Sheena, the Sports Report Girl, here with another edition of In the Crease, my weekly recap of the top stories from the National Hockey League. So after missing 50 games recovering from his bicep injury, Martin Brodeur finally returned to the New Jersey Devils starting lineup. In his first game back against the Avalanche, he tended the 99th shutout of his career. In Brodeur's next outing, he gave up 2 goals, but the Devils pounded the surging Panthers, scoring 4 times in the second and 7 times in all. But it doesn't stop there, because he followed that performance with his 100th career shutout on Sunday against the Flyers. Only 2 goals surrendered in 3 games. Not bad for missing 4 months of the season. And speaking of 4s, Brodeur is now only 4 away from overtaking NHL shutout king Terry Sawchuk, as well as 4 behind Patrick Waugh for all-time career wins. Way to go, Marty. Moving on, with the trade deadline fast approaching, a number of teams out there are still trying to figure out whether they're buyers or sellers. 2 teams that figured it out last week were Pittsburgh and Anaheim. The Ducks get a scoring defenseman in Ryan Whitney to help toughen up the slumping team, something they desperately need after their recent humiliation to the Bruins. And the Penguins, who are loaded at center, get a solid forward in Chris Kunitz to help out on the power play, a facet of their game which has been dreadful all year. Also last weekend, Nashville beat Detroit 8-0. I kept looking at my TV screen, certain it had to be some type of technical malfunction in the broadcast. But you know what? It wasn't. Well, Nashville is 11-5-1 since the All-Star break. At the time, I thought they were a terrible team, but since have proven me wrong, crawling their way into playoff contention. Detroit was clearly tired playing the second of back-to-back games, but let's not make excuses. The Preds were the better team that night, and they proved it by scoring more points against the Red Wings than any other team all season. And finally, this past weekend brought to a close the warm and fuzzy Hockey is for Everyone month. Unfortunately, no one sent Don Cherry the memo. The legendary Canadian broadcaster, often seen dressing like the Grand Marshal of Key West's gay pride parade, recently took sides in the burgeoning Crosby-Ovechkin feud. Not surprisingly, Don sided with Sid, and in the process called out Alex for his over-exuberant goal celebrations. Celebrations which often include fist pumps and leaping into the glass. Actions Cherry referred to as goofy stuff. Really? You know what I think is goofy, Don? Dressing like this in public. Saturday, during the Hockey Night in Canada broadcast, Cherry advocated doing things the old-fashioned way, or to be more exact, the Canadian way. You know, the way Crosby does things, because Sid the Kid would never be seen showboating. Clearly, Don is just upset that Crosby is being supplanted by Ovechkin as the biggest star in the NHL. But I think it goes beyond that. I think Cherry just can't handle the fact that the best player in the NHL right now isn't a Canadian, or even a North American, but is in fact an Eastern European. Here's a news flash, Don. The Cold War is over. Time to move on. Okay guys, that is it for this edition of In the Crease, but please don't forget to leave your comments, and if you like the show, be sure to subscribe and tell a friend. See you back here next week.